Your car's air conditioning is lying to you. Right now, you're blasting it on full, sweating through your shirt, wondering why you're still sitting in a rolling oven. And the answer isn't that your air conditioning is broken. The answer is that nobody ever taught you how to actually use it. Japanese automotive engineers figured this out decades ago, built it into every car sold in Japan, and somehow the rest of the world just never got the memo. Today, I'm breaking down the complete Japanese method, the exact sequence, settings, and tricks that will drop your cabin temperature by up to 20 degrees faster than what you're doing right now. We're going from the basics to the stuff that will genuinely shock you, because one of these will change every single hot weather drive you take for the rest of your life. Let's get into it. Step 1. Stop turning the air conditioning on first. Do this instead. This is the mistake every single person makes. You get into a scorching car, immediately crank the air conditioning to max, and sit there marinating in 140-degree air, wondering why it takes 10 minutes to cool down. Here is the problem. Your cabin is not just hot. It is a sealed container that has been baking all day. The air inside is significantly hotter than the air outside. In direct sunlight on a 90-degree day, your dashboard can hit 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Your steering wheel can reach 127 degrees. The air trapped in your cabin is easily 40 to 60 degrees hotter than outside. When you turn on the air conditioning immediately, you are forcing your system to condition that superheated trapped air. It is like trying to cool a sauna by cracking the door open. Pointless. What Japanese drivers are taught to do first is a 30-second purge. Open all 4 windows. Turn on the fan, not the air conditioning, just the fan, on maximum speed, and set it to fresh air mode, not recirculate. Drive slowly for 30 seconds. What you are doing is using your car as a bellows, forcing all that 140-degree trapped air out and replacing it with outside air. Yes, outside air might be 90 degrees. That is still 50 degrees cooler than what was in your car. You are giving your air conditioning a fighting chance before it even turns on. After 30 seconds, close the windows. Now, turn on the air conditioning. The difference in cool down time is measurable. Studies from the Japan Automobile Research Institute showed cabin temperatures dropped to comfort levels in an average of 4 minutes using the purge method, versus over 9 minutes when drivers jump straight to maximum air conditioning with windows closed. That is more than twice as fast. Same car, same air conditioning system, just a different sequence. Step 2. The recirculation button is not what you think. Every car has a recirculation button. It is the one with the arrow going in a circle inside a car outline. Most people either never touch it or leave it on all the time. Both are wrong. Here is what it actually does. When recirculation is off, your air conditioning is pulling air from outside, cooling it, and pumping it into the cabin. When recirculation is on, it is recooling the air that is already inside. Now, here is why the Japanese method is specific about this. After you do your 30-second purge, you turn on the air conditioning and set it to recirculation immediately. Why? Because the air you have replaced inside is already cooler than what came before it. Now you are recooling already cooler air, which is exponentially easier for your air conditioning compressor. The system reaches your target temperature faster, and once you are cool, it maintains that temperature using dramatically less fuel. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Recirculation also blocks outside pollutants, exhaust fumes from the car in front of you, and pollen. In Japan, where urban air quality monitoring is taken seriously and hay fever affects over 30% of the population, recirculation is considered a health feature as much as a comfort one. But there is a catch. Leaving recirculation on forever causes a different problem. Over time, carbon dioxide levels in the cabin build up, leading to fatigue, reduced alertness, and fogged windows. The Japanese standard is to cycle recirculation off for 2 to 3 minutes every 30 minutes of driving. Fresh air in, carbon dioxide out, then back to recirculation. It is a small habit with a big impact on how alert you feel on long drives. Step 3. the temperature setting that engineers actually use. If your air conditioning has a temperature dial or a digital display, stop setting it to the coldest possible setting. This is counterproductive, and here is the physics behind why. When you set your air conditioning to the lowest temperature, the system runs the compressor at maximum load, constantly trying to hit an impossible target. Your car was not designed to bring cabin air to 60 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. The compressor overworks, fuel consumption spikes, and the system actually cools less efficiently because it never enters a regulated cycle. Japanese automotive engineers, based on documented Nissan and Toyota internal training materials for technicians, recommend setting your climate control from 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit as your initial blast temperature. This is not because that is a comfortable long-term setting, but because it hits the sweet spot where your compressor operates at peak efficiency without being overstressed. Once the cabin reaches a comfortable temperature, you raise it to your preferred setting, typically from 71 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit. This two-stage approach lets the system work with its engineering rather than against it. The cabin reaches a comfortable temperature faster, the compressor lives longer, fuel consumption is reduced. In real-world testing by Japanese auto journalism outlets, this method reduced air conditioning-related fuel consumption by 7 to 12% on city routes compared to simply setting the system to the coldest setting and leaving it there. Step 4. The vent direction sequence. Nobody follows. Where you point your vents matters more than almost any other factor, and the answer is completely counterintuitive. Cold air sinks. Everyone knows this from basic physics, so the instinct is to point vents upward toward the headliner and let the cold air fall down over you. That is wrong. The Japanese method, taught in Japanese driver's education and documented in Toyota's official owner guidance publications, is to angle your vents horizontally or slightly downward toward the middle of the cabin when you first start cooling down. Here is why. The hottest zone in your hot cabin is not the top, it is actually the middle, where you are sitting and the surfaces you are touching. Your seat absorbs your body heat. Your steering wheel has been in direct sun. The goal of initial cooling is not to hit you with cold air. The goal is to drop the ambient temperature of the entire cabin as fast as possible, aiming vents to circulate air through the mid-cabin zone. Creates a convective loop that pulls heat away from surfaces and out through the return vents faster than targeting your body directly. Once the cabin temperature has stabilized, typically after 3 to 4 minutes, you adjust the vents to your comfort preference. That first phase of cooling is about the room, not about you personally. Step 5. The Japanese parking trick that pre-cools for free. This one is not a driving technique. It is a parking technique that eliminates the problem before it starts. And it is so simple it is almost offensive that it is not more widely known. In Japan, particularly in urban areas where summer temperatures regularly exceed 95 degrees Fahrenheit with brutal humidity, a specific parking approach has become standard among people who drive regularly. It is called the shadow angle method. When you park, do not just find shade, and then position your car so the dashboard and steering wheel are in shadow during the hours your car will be sitting. This sounds obvious, but most people park and do not think about the angle of the sun relative to their car. Parking under a tree on the east side of the lot in the morning gives you no shade by 2 p.m. when the sun has shifted. The shadow angle method means actually looking at the sun's position, estimating its arc, and choosing a space where your windshield will be shielded during peak heat hours. The impact on cabin temperature is dramatic. A car with a shielded dashboard and 95 degrees Fahrenheit heat will have an interior temperature of roughly 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit when you return. The same car, same outside temperature with direct sun on the windshield will be 145 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit inside. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between your air conditioning cooling the cabin in 4 minutes versus 12 minutes. and the difference between touching your steering wheel normally versus yelping when you grab it. Combine this with a windshield sunshade, the reflective folding kind, and you have cut your pre-cooling time roughly in half before your engine even starts. Step 6. The defrost trick for instant windshield clearing. Here's one that applies on the other end of the spectrum: cold weather or heavy humidity, but is part of the same Japanese air conditioning philosophy. Your defroster uses the air conditioning compressor. Most people don't know this. When you hit the rear defroster and front defrost, the system activates the air conditioning to dehumidify the air it blows at the windshield. This is why defrosting works so much faster than just blasting heat. Dry air absorbs and removes moisture from the glass. Humid, warm air just smears it around. The Japanese method for instant windshield clearing is simple. Hit the defrost button, yes, but simultaneously set the temperature to maximum heat and the fan to maximum speed. You are combining hot, dry, dehumidified air in one blast. In side-by-side testing, this clears a fully fogged windshield in under 30 seconds versus 2 to 3 minutes with heat alone. 30 seconds versus 3 minutes is the difference between safe visibility and driving blind at an intersection. Step 7. The air conditioning maintenance cycle that doubles system life. This is where the Japanese method gets into territory most people never think about, and it is probably the most valuable part of this entire breakdown. Japan has mandatory vehicle inspections called shaken, required every 2 years, and it is one of the reasons Japanese used cars exported worldwide are legendary for their condition. Part of this culture is air conditioning system maintenance that Americans and Europeans almost never do until the system fails. Here is what happens inside your air conditioning system that nobody tells you. The refrigerant in your air conditioning does not just cool air, it carries compressor oil throughout the system. When you do not run your air conditioning regularly, that oil pools in the compressor and seals dry out. When you then run the air conditioning hard on the first hot day of summer, you are running a dry compressor. This is one of the primary causes of air conditioning compressor failure, and a replacement compressor runs $800 to $1,500 in parts alone, before labor. The Japanese preventive measure is simple. Run your air conditioning for at least 10 minutes every 2 weeks, year-round, even in winter, even when you do not need it cold. Set it to 75 degrees if you want, but run the compressor. This keeps seals lubricated, refrigerant circulating, and oil distributed. It is a 10-minute habit that extends air conditioning system life by years. Toyota service documentation explicitly recommends this in their maintenance guidelines for markets with seasonal climates. Step 8. The filter. Secret your dealer won't mention: cabin air filters. Your car has one. Right now, statistically speaking, there is a 60% chance yours is completely clogged. The cabin air filter blocks dust, pollen, and debris from entering your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. When it clogs, AIR flow through your entire system drops significantly. Your fan works harder, your air conditioning compressor works harder. The system takes longer to cool, and you are breathing recycled particulate matter through a dirty filter. It is like trying to breathe through a sock. Japanese car culture has a specific recommendation that is different from what most Western service centers push. While American dealerships typically say replace every 15,000 to 25,000 miles, the Japanese standard is every 12,000 miles, or once per year, whichever comes first, and replace it immediately if you have been driving in areas with significant dust, smoke, or heavy pollen. After wildfire smoke events, replace it immediately regardless of mileage. A new cabin air filter costs $15 to $30 at any auto parts store and takes 5 minutes to swap with no tools in most vehicles. It is located behind the glove box in nearly every modern car. Just Google your make and model. This single change can restore airflow efficiency by 20 to 40% in a clogged system. People spend hundreds on air conditioning recharges when the real issue is a $20 filter that was blocking airflow the whole time. Step 9. The final sequence, putting it all together. So here's the complete Japanese method, start to finish. Every time you get into a hot car, pull up to your car. Before you open the door, roll the windows down. Start the car with the windows down and set the fan to maximum fresh air. Do not turn on the air conditioning yet. Drive for 30 seconds to purge the superheated cabin air. Close the windows. Switch the fan to recirculate. Now turn on the air conditioning and set the temperature to 64 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Set the vents horizontally to circulate mid-cabin air. After 3 to 4 minutes, when the cabin has stabilized, adjust the vents and the temperature to your comfort preference. Every 30 minutes, turn recirculation off for 2 to 3 minutes. Park strategically using the shadow angle method. Use a windshield sunshade. Run the air conditioning for 10 minutes every 2 weeks in winter. Replace the cabin air filter every 12,000 miles. That's it. That's the whole system. No modifications, no expensive upgrades, no magic refrigerant additives. Just a sequence developed by a culture that takes vehicle maintenance seriously and has been quietly using it for decades while the rest of the world wondered why their car took forever to cool down. The difference between someone who knows this and someone who doesn't isn't equipment. It isn't a newer car, it's just information. And now you have it. If this video saved you from one more sweat-soaked commute, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people who are suffering through exactly what you were before watching this. Subscribe so you catch the next breakdown. Drop a comment and tell us which step actually surprised you most. My bet is it's the purge method, because when people try it for the first time, the reaction is always the same. Why did nobody tell me this sooner? Thanks for watching. Stay cool. See you in the next one.